Don't forget the Ustream.
Wait, I'm gonna go in the hall. Can I get out? Wait, no. Don't tell me you locked us up.
You can stay here. Okay. Good evening and welcome to Current Issues. I'm your host, Hesham Tillawi. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking Martin Luther King. It was Martin Luther King's Day this past Monday. And, when we talk about Martin Luther King, and as a matter of fact, let's start the program with you thinking about what Martin Luther King actually wanted to accomplish. And we are going to put the phone number on, and I want you to call us after the first segment and tell us, what do you think Martin Luther King was all about? What did he want to accomplish? Just call us and let's discuss that and see. Don't think so. And so let's see if you really know what Martin Luther King was all about and what he wanted to accomplish. Write the number down, call us in 366-8950, and let us know if you think, number one, what he wanted. Number two, how far have we came since then? Now remember, he died back in 1963. And what he wanted to actually accomplish, I don't know how much he accomplished, but maybe he did. Maybe you're happy and maybe blacks in America don't ride in the back of the bus and don't eat in separate restaurants. Maybe that's what it was all about. Maybe just to get blacks to dine in the same place as the whites. Was that it? Call us. That's the number over there. Now, before we go any further, there was a little video that really disturbed me. And it's about people killing themselves. And killing themselves for their economics. Killing themselves for their elected officials. Basically, they think that their elected officials are not doing the job. People are hungry. People want to live. And so we have a little video clip from Romania, in the Parliament House there in Romania, where this guy screamed at the lawmakers saying, "You killed our future." Let's play that little video. It is disturbing, but I believe we do have a message in this little video for everybody.
Și deputați, distinși colegi, membri ai guvernului. Urgent, vă rog, urgent asistență medicală pentru...
Go ahead and play it again. For those of you who did not catch it, we're just going to play the little fall.
Și deputați, distinși colegi, membri ai guvernului.
Okay. I don't know what goes through people's minds. I mean, that stuff gotta hurt. But for somebody to do that, I don't know if he died or not. That was, a small fall, but I'm sure he was hurt badly if he did not die. I did not really follow the the story. But before we dig into tonight's program, there was another video just to show this has nothing to do with Martin Luther King, but it does have a lot to do with the politics of this country. And as you know, we talk more about international politics than we do domestic politics. And as if you follow the program, you know that we have talked about Israel and their control over the policies and the politics of the United States. Now, this is the next one is going to be a little clip from the West Wing. It's with Charlie Sheen. They have found a little map, and there's a huge message in this little clip that you are going to see. So they found a little map from 1709, and he's so happy about this map of the Holy Land. It's 1709, and they wanted to actually frame it and put it in the West Wing, in the White House. Well, there was a little problem with them doing that, and you're going to see what the problem is. Let's play the map of the Holy Land and pay attention to the message inside that, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Charlie,
Good morning.
how was your weekend?
It was good, sir.
What'd you do?
I was here most of the time with you, sir.
Time well spent.
Yeah.
What, you going to a flea market?
Yeah, I picked something up for you.
You didn't have to do that. Yeah?
It's a map of the Holy Land that was drawn in 1709. It's titled Canaan, Palestine, or the Holy Land.
Nice sucking up.
Thank you, sir.
Look at these topographical details. Seriously, I'm going to have this framed. This is great.
If you leave it here, I'll send it out.
I'm going to play with it some more.
Good morning.
Look at this map. 1709. Dead Sea, Jordan River, Mount Sinai.
That's beautiful.
You want to come inside?
Yeah.
Thanks again, Charlie. Hey, you want to see something? Charlie gave this to me. It's a map of the Holy Land drawn in 1709. He got it at a flea market. It's hand-colored, copper engraved. He's going to put it in the outer office.
This outer office?
Yeah, no. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because some people are going to find it offensive.
Why?
Doesn't recognize Israel.
It was drawn in 1709.
Yeah.
There was no Israel.
Right.
Israel wouldn't happen for another 250 years.
Yeah.
So what's the problem with the map?
Some people are going to find it offensive.
Why?
It doesn't recognize Israel.
Take lunch, would you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Wait. I want to show you this great map Charlie found.
Sir, I know about it. You can't put it up in the West Wing.
CJ.
It doesn't recognize Israel.
There was no Israel in 1709.
That's right.
So it's not on the map.
Which is what some people are going to find offensive.
That's ridiculous.
You know what would be great?
If I put it someplace else?
Yes.
Leo has, in what used to be his house when he was married, a map of the United States. The first third of it is the 13 original colonies. The second third of it is the French territory of Louisiana, and the third third is Mexico. In this map of the United States, there is not a single state. That's because when this map was made, there was no United States. I am the president of the United States, and I'm not offended by it.
Well, you're bigger than 10 men, sir. What do you say we put it out of the way?
I'm having it enlarged and bolting it to the hood of my limo. They don't want us to put up our map, Charlie. They're Philistines in the fight for freedom, but that doesn't bother us, does it? Huh? Never mind.
It's not like I'm agreeing with the people who are going to be offended. It's just that you're asking for a whole lot of pain in exchange for which you get nothing but an old map.
That's the key. An old map. An old map. Spin that.
See, now you got me out there spinning things.
Anything else? Let me ask you something. You may be the last sane voice around here.
Hang on, before I forget, that map that Charlie gave you, make sure you don't put it where people can see it.
I don't believe this.
Recognizing Israel's a pretty hot button, wouldn't you say?
In Lebanon, not here. It's not like I'm thinking, God, I was gonna recognize Israel, but now that I've seen this map, you know what? Let's just sit here quietly.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now, the message in that little clip, ladies and gentlemen, is politicians in the United States are scared to death of what Israel might think, because the Israelis have the power to put them in office and remove them. And what you saw is not far from reality, as a matter of fact. Now, I did not see that whole episode. Actually, I don't think I ever seen an episode for West Wing, period. I don't really watch much entertainment television, but I guarantee you they probably put a spin on it that was comfortable for those people who might have been offended if they would have put the map in the White House. You know, the thing is, you cannot offend Israel, period, in politics. Now, you can offend everybody. You can offend the American people. You can destroy the American economy. You can destroy the American system of living. You can destroy any American value. You can go to war against other countries and kill 1 million people for Israel, but you cannot offend Israel. And that's the reality. That's the reality in the United States. That is the reality. And as long as we continue not speaking, as long as you continue not being educated, not knowledgeable of what's going on, you don't talk about what's going on, that's basically death. That is a society that is dying, a society that cannot talk about issues. That is a society that is dying. And as a matter of fact, I think Martin Luther King may have said something towards those lines. Anyway, now we did ask you before at the beginning of the program to call us and tell us if if you know what Martin Luther King was all about, and it sounds like we do have some callers. Caller, you're up. Welcome to the program.
Hesham,
Yes,
how are you?
fine, thank you.
Hang on, let me turn my TV down.
Please.
Hey, listen, get your facts straight, man. Martin Luther King died in 68, not 63. That was John F. Kennedy who died in 63.
Okay, appreciate the correction.
But I'd like to just say, you know, a little bit about what I think Martin Luther King stood for, if you have time.
Well, go ahead very quick, but not what he stood for, what he wanted to accomplish.
Well, I think what he wanted to accomplish was this country to realize the true nature of its creed, that everybody in this country is an American and should be afforded the same rights. And my hat's off to him for nonviolent protest. I think that was the way they got the things accomplished that they did accomplish.
Mm-hmm. What is it that they accomplished?
Who? Martin Luther King?
Well, you said they. I'm
I meant
assuming.
the whole movement,
I'm assuming you're
the civil
talking
rights
about the
movement.
blacks in America. What did they accomplish?
Well, I mean, if you look at the time of Martin Luther King and you look at the time now, a lot's been accomplished as far as being a lot better off than they were,
Are they?
in my opinion.
What?
You can go eat where you want to eat. You can go watch a movie.
Okay.
You know, I'm 51 years old. I can remember a time when the Jefferson Theater here in town, they were segregated, where
Okay.
black people had to go up in the balcony to watch movies and stuff, and they
Okay.
couldn't eat at the same lunch counter.
Okay. So basically, that's something. Is that all they have accomplished? Just eating in the same place with whites and watching movies in the same place where whites are? Is that what it was all about?
No, that's not what it was all about, but that was a big part of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's easy to sit there and say, you know, you can't realize what had happened until you really went through it, which I'm a white guy, so I didn't really go through it either, but I can imagine it wasn't too fun.
Okay. But you think they are in a better shape now than what they were before?
I know they're in a better shape now than they were before. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, if you look back at in the 60s, and you look now, yeah, you can go eat where you want to eat. You can, there's a lot of things that have changed, and I remember a big part of that. I was
Okay.
raised in a family where, that was strictly forbidden to be any kind of prejudice at all, or, think about somebody because they were different. It's not what you are, it's who you are.
So you think now you
I think
you
there's a long
mentioned
way to go, but I
you
think there's been
mentioned you
accomplishments
mentioned the
made.
word prejudice. You think is that has there been a lot of changes on this prejudice thing?
Well, I think the people now, people coming up nowadays, yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of changes. I think it's a lot better than it was. I don't think it's where it needs to be.
Where does it need to be?
Well, it needs to be is that it truly and honestly, anybody can be anything they want in this country, which is what the founding fathers really wanted.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm proud of the accomplishments that were made, and he didn't die in vain. Not by any means.
So do you think?
His life meant a lot. I mean, I consider him one of the founding fathers of this modern society that we have now.
Do you think blacks can be whatever they want to be?
Well, it's a lot closer than they could be. In his time, they couldn't. They could be garbage men. And now you have the President of the United States as a black man. So, yeah, we have made big accomplishments.
What about garbage men out there?
What's that?
What about the garbage men out there?
What about them?
They're still black.
Well, they say black and they white. I don't think it's a matter of, you got people. Black
Now, I asked you a question. Do you think a black man stands the chance of being whatever they want to be in this country?
Compared to what?
No. We're talking about today. We're talking about We're not talking about 40 years ago and 60 years ago. We're talking about today.
Well, I mean, you have to look at it in the proper context. I don't think it was just, you have to look at where they were and where they've come.
No. Well, you see, okay, we're measuring what was then and what it is now. Can a black man or a woman in the United States be whatever they dream to be?
I would imagine so.
Having the same chances as a white, having the same.
There's a lot of white people that can't be what they want to be either.
Okay, but you think blacks and whites have the same opportunities and the same chances to achieve those opportunities?
I think it's better. I mean, no, it's not where it should be by any means.
Okay.
But I mean, I have to tip my hat to a guy that's going to sit there and preach, not to fight back, to sit there and take beatings in order to get accomplishments done.
Okay.
I mean, they started off. He could have been a militant that could have, we could have had race wars like you wouldn't believe. But instead, he chose the.
Well, there was. I mean, at that time, the Black Panther was. I guess they were there, but they did not get a lot of people around them like Martin Luther King did. Appreciate it. Thanks. Appreciate the call. Okay. All right. Well, our last caller thinks that it's much better. Now, what do you think? Caller, you're up. Okay. We did have a caller, but I don't know what happened to them. So call us back so we can hear from you to see exactly what you think. Now, in the meantime, while you are calling and thinking, I want you to think of today. What is going on today? Did Martin Luther King accomplish much? Now, if you think that he did, call me and tell me, because my caller, he thinks that, now blacks can eat in the same restaurant and watch the same movie in the same movie theater. That's a huge accomplishment. Is it? Is it a huge accomplishment? So call us and let us know. In the meantime, we're going to see what Newt Gingrich actually think about this society and the politics. Is race actually part of politics in the United States? So is race part of it? And why is the Republicans cannot seem to actually get into the black community and the black vote? Herman Cain tried, and he made headlines when he said that his people, meaning the black people, that his people were brainwashed. So let's hear what Newt Gingrich actually think about the race and the elections.
Speaker Gingrich, the suggestion that you made was about a lack of work ethic. And I got to tell you, my email account, my Twitter account has been inundated with people of all races who are asking if your comments are not intended to belittle the poor and racial minorities. You saw some of this reaction during your visit to a black church in South Carolina. you saw some of this during your visit to a black church in South Carolina, where a woman asked you why you refer to President Obama as the food stamp president. It sounds as if you are seeking to belittle people.
Well, first of all, Juan, the fact is that more people have been put on food stamps by Barack Obama than any president in American history. Now, I know among the politically correct, you're not supposed to use facts that are uncomfortable.
Okay. Food stamps. More people have been put on food stamps during Barack Obama. And that is true, by the way. But was it Barack Obama's fault? Or did he maybe give more food stamps to his people? I mean, what was the message that Newt Gingrich, and that wasn't the first time that he talks about the food stamp president. You know, what was that message? What was the Republicans' message? If they want to try to get into the black vote, that's a horrible way of trying to get into it by, you know, assuming that the food stamps president, and now it is true, you have more people on food stamps than we did before. But Barack Obama was not the cause of the economic collapse. It was the Republicans the cause of the economic collapse when they decided to go to war against Iraq, a country that did not do anything to the United States. It was not a threat to the United States. And if you ask me, that is the cause of the economic downfall. Now, from the start of the war in Iraq, we talked about the economic war and what that war is going to do with the economy of the United States. Early on, I told you from this seat right here that we're going to lose big in economics. That was 8 years ago. And we are. We are. So Barack Obama was not the cause, but the economy fell. And by the way, see, he did tell you about statistics, but he did not tell you about the real statistics that more white people on food stamps now than before. That's one thing that he did not tell you. So it wasn't that Barack Obama gave the blacks more food stamps. The whole country went south, and Barack Obama did not have much to do with it. Caller, you're up.
Hey, I was going to tell you what I think he accomplished. I think he accomplished the downgrading of our school systems. And then look at how much crime we have, like in places in New Orleans. I mean, you don't have crime like this in other white countries.
There you
don't
go.
have crime like that in other non-white countries.
That's an excellent observation, and you're right. You know, if I look at schools in the north side of Lafayette, and I happen to live in Lafayette, so I know that schools in the north side are much worse, academically speaking, physically speaking, much worse, and crimes in the north side of town is a hell of a lot more than the south side. Do you think that's because of black and white?
No, I think that's because of them. That's the way they predominantly live. It's the way they are.
That's the way they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe.
Look at why all the people are moving all their kids to these private Christian schools.
Okay, because of the blacks.
Yes.
And that's like, is it like the way they're made up, their genetics, they're born in that way?
Let's do a little history lesson.
Okay.
Let's go back before the Romans. We had the ancient tribesmen of Europe. We had steel shields and armor. The Africans were still throwing clubs at animals, and they'd tie in rocks to sticks.
Okay. All right. So you said New Orleans. So New Orleans has a lot of crime because there's a lot of blacks there?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is that what Martin Luther King accomplished?
Well, what he accomplished about the segregation, the integration of the schools, is that he made the whole thing go down, and now we don't have any great engineers in America that are American, or scientists.
So you're going to tell me that 15% of the population now, by the way, at the time of Martin Luther King, there were probably about 8% of the population, 10% of the population. So 10% of the population, they ran down the whole 90% of the country?
Yeah, there's a lot more of them than that now. I mean, there's
15%.
how much?
15.
15.
Yeah. About 17% to be exact.
You sure?
I think so. But you think because they're black?
I think it's because of the blacks, not because they're black, because the way they are.
No, when you say the way they are, they're born that way?
Maybe so. I don't understand.
It's like they're like different.
I can't explain why they act the way they do. It's just the way they act.
They're born that way.
Maybe so. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right,
okay. What do you think? You know, that's what this gentleman thinks, that school is actually, I think I'm over here. So schools are run down because of the blacks, because the way they are, and crimes are because the way they are. Somebody was trying to call and they probably hung up. So call us, let us know, because we are going to tell you what we think after we hear from people. Caller, you're up.
Yes, hey, how's it going, Doc? Good to hear from you.
Thanks.
I just wanted to comment on that racist guy from before. That was pretty funny. So 15% of the population accounts for 80% of those incarcerated in the country, and it has nothing to do with anything but their moral character. They're just deficient. That's pretty funny. That's yeah, it had nothing to do with public policy, right?
Well, we're going to get into that. So what do you think? What do you think has been accomplished since the death of Martin Luther King until now?
Well, not much.
Okay.
I would say since he died, there have been strides for different minorities, but for the most part, we have passed public policy to just incarcerate anyone who is different from a white male, and we do it in spades. You know, we have a higher prison population than anywhere in the world.
Now, do you think a black man in America stands a chance of being whatever they want to be?
Of course not. I mean, that's ludicrous, and it has nothing to do with their personal. You know, there are certain black men who are millionaires.
Well, some of them went through, pierced through the ceiling. That's true, but the majority of them.
Man, that's who you know. You know, the average black person in America today is just trying to avoid getting pulled over by, you know, another racist cop. I mean, it's just we have such apartheid in this country, and it is not spoken of because we don't want to fix it, because it's good for the status quo, because it enriches the people who own the.
Now let me ask you something. Now we want to blame the system, and we want to blame maybe the racist attitudes that we still have in this country, and it's gonna take, you know, racism. It doesn't go away just by installing a law saying that racism is against the law. You know, we know that it doesn't happen that way, and it's going to take few generations to do that. Maybe couple hundred years.
Never changes. A racist just dies.
Here you go. That's a good. That's a good statement. But now, you know something. I mean, there is some truth to the statement that schools in the North Side, and you know, people watch us all over the world. When we say the North Side, we mean this city that we are in, where basically majority probably of the blacks in the city live in the North Side. It is true that schools are not in as in a good shape as schools in the South Side, and also if you look at crimes, it is more in the North Side than it is. Can we put some blame on the black people themselves for the situation that we are in?
I would answer it this way. We can put as much blame on the black people of today as we can on the Italians of the 20s and 30s who profited from prohibition at the expense of the populace. You know, they're simply profiting from a way to make easy money that is is provided for them by public policy. You know, as though we can combat the flow of drugs. You know, that's like combating the flow of tampons or the flow of, you know, brooms. I mean, it's just another thing, another product that people want. And by making it illegal, we empower gangsters. And yet we don't talk about that. I mean, look at Mexico. It just gets worse and worse. Look at Colombia. Look at what Uribe did. You know, he took it to the guerrillas, and he changed public policy. And he basically fixed the drug problem in Colombia, which was the epicenter of the world at that time.
True.
But now, you know, it shifted focus to Mexico and to Afghanistan.
Okay. Very good. Thanks. Appreciate the call.
Okay, thanks, man. Have a good one.
Thank you. All right. Tell us, what do you think? Do you think that much has been accomplished since Martin Luther King? And what was his message? So far, nobody has called in to tell me this is what Martin Luther King wanted to do. And it's 2 words, by the way. And if you know what those 2 words are, just call me and let me know. Because has it been accomplished? What he wanted to accomplish, you know, if you think he wanted to accomplish that black eat in the same restaurants as white, I think you're wrong. I don't think that's what he wanted. Caller, you're up.
Yeah, as somebody being from Lafayette for a long time, I can remember back when Lafayette was on the north side was kind of split up. They still have a place called the Block, and they used to have Fightonville and all these other different places.
Okay.
And it was a lot safer back then when these areas were patrolled by their own little gangs. I mean, it's unbelievable that gangs would actually make the place safer, but it was. Because if you got to know the people, then you were in with them, and it was okay. Now it's like wild in the streets, you know?
Okay. So my question is, has much been accomplished since Martin Luther King of what Martin Luther King actually wanted to accomplish?
Some of what he wanted to accomplish.
What did he want? What was his message? What did he want to do?
He wanted unity and peace.
Okay. Unity and peace. Okay. Very good. Thanks for the call. Okay. All right. Well, call us. Let us know if you know what Martin Luther King message was and if any of that message has been accomplished. And let's hear from, it looks like most of the people that are calling us tonight are white people. Now, I'm not saying for, you know, black people to start calling, but I like to get a mix of different opinions to see, you know what, I want a black person to call me and let me know what Martin Luther King wanted to accomplish. And if you can, here we go. We got a caller. Caller, you're up.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, hi.
Okay. I'll answer that question. I think he wanted equal rights.
Okay. He wanted equal rights.
Equal rights for us as American citizens of all races. He wanted people to be treated fair and equal. He wanted our government to treat each individual American citizens and give them the rights that all American citizens had, no matter what race we were. If we were American citizens, he wanted us to be treated fairly and
you know what? You're a little bit close, but too broad. Equal rights is too broad, but he wanted a specific thing.
Well, but you said 2 words.
Yeah.
But you did say 2 words.
I did.
I'm going to give you the 2 words that I thought would fit.
Well, you're very close.
Okay.
Very close, but he had a specific message that he wanted to accomplish, and was he able to accomplish what he wanted? Now, well, let me ask you this. You said equal rights. Has he been able, how much how much has his message succeeded since then?
Okay. Well, I'll say this, that now in our country, because of the many things that he wanted to get accomplished, we as American citizens, there are a lot of the small Americans. We have more rights today. We are able to do many things. And I'm not just talking about African Americans.
Okay.
I'm talking about all Americans. There are some things back before King started his movement that many American citizens could not do in this country.
Okay, so now are you African American?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
An American.
So you think, okay, that's fine. You're an American. So you think that we have accomplished that equality in America?
No, no, we have not yet reached total equality in America.
Okay.
And that's going to be something that I really don't think we'll ever accomplish total equality, because the way that we are in our own country, that we have so many biases, we have so much ignorance, and those are not disrespectful to us as citizens. It's just that some people don't know much about other people, and vice versa. So our ignorance hurt us.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, some of the callers said that the schools have been run down and crime is high in black neighborhoods. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean,
And he said because they are, because that's how they are. So that's how blacks are. They run schools down and the criminals.
Well, that is just one person's opinion, and his ignorance that led him to college.
Okay, that's fine, but can you tell me on the ground, don't you feel that black schools are performing much less than white schools, and also crime in white neighborhoods are much higher than white neighborhoods, in black neighborhood than white neighborhoods?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to address it in normal terms. I don't believe in anything like a white school. These are public schools, okay?
That's fine. Okay.
That's the first time I addressed that. Now, as far as the earlier caller saying that African Americans, blacks, we're destructive and all that, that's again ignorance. Basically, he has to understand what causes individuals to conduct themselves the way they do. You can't identify a whole race of people by the acts of one or two or a few.
But now, let's face facts here. Schools in the north side are performing less than schools in the south side. Is that a correct statement?
Sir, to be honest with you, I really don't believe in the numbers, because where are the numbers? And another thing, if you would go ask the teachers who are actually teaching the kids on the north side, a lot of the teachers individually would tend to beg to differ, because some of them are Caucasian Americans teaching African American kids.
I understand that, but why African Americans in the north side, they're very much fighting to send their kids to the south side schools?
Sir, they're not fighting to send their
They
kids
are.
there. What's being offered to them is they're being offered opportunities to, like, schools of choices. So now in the Lafayette are being offered an opportunity to go at wherever their parents would allow them to go, and that's another thing that King fought for. These kids are now being given opportunities to go places where they never could go before in the past.
Okay, very good. Thanks. Appreciate the call. Okay, that was a great call. And, I wish if I can keep people on the phone all the time, but unfortunately, we want to hear from more people. Caller, you're up.
Yes. Did anybody answer your question yet?
No.
Was he a communist and he wanted to bring the downfall of America?
Okay. Hey, you did pretty good on that one. He was a communist and wanted to bring the downfall in America. Well, did he succeed?
Well, it's close.
So Martin Luther King caused the downfall of America.
Well, not single-handedly.
Okay.
And another thing, too, people always call and say you can't judge a whole group of people. Well, that stuff's been going on for thousands of years. My ancient ancestors, the Helvetian tribes of Gaul in northern Europe, the Romans thought we were dirt, and we were slaves way before they even thought of slavery. So maybe people ought to wake up and learn a little bit about history.
Thank you. Appreciate the call. All right, let's see. Let's see what you think of this. We have 17 minutes left. But you know what? Before we go into another caller, let's see what Martin Luther King wanted and what the presidential candidates, and especially the number one on the ticket, Romney. Let's play the Romney and Martin Luther King tape.
that it is a crime for people to live in this rich nation and receive starvation wages.
The country already has a leader who divides us with the bitter politics of envy. We have to offer an alternative vision. I stand ready to lead us down a different path where we're lifted up by our desire to succeed, not dragged down by a resentment of success.
Now we are dealing with issues that cannot be solved without the nation spending billions of dollars and undergoing a radical redistribution of economic power.
Anyone who has questions about the distribution of wealth and power in this country is envious? Is it about jealousy, or is it about fairness?
You know, I think it's about envy. I think it's about class warfare.
America's opportunity to help bridge the gulf between the haves and the have-nots. The question is whether America will do it. There's nothing new about poverty. What is new is that we now have the techniques and the resources to get rid of poverty. The real question is whether we have the will.
He wants to turn America into a European-style social welfare state, fundamentally transform America.
But if a man doesn't have a job or an income, he has neither life nor liberty and the possibility for the pursuit of happiness.
I believe in America. I believe in the opportunity and in the freedom that is American opportunity and freedom. I believe in free enterprise and capitalism. I believe government is too big.
We spend $322,000 for each enemy we kill in Vietnam.
He doesn't see the need for overwhelming American military superiority.
While we spend in the so-called war on poverty in America only about $53 for each person classified as poor.
I will insist on a military so powerful no one would ever think of challenging it.
Promises of the Great Society have been shot down on the battlefield of Vietnam, making the poor, white and Negro, bear the heaviest burdens both at the front and at home.
It's a very envy-oriented, attack-oriented approach, and I think it'll fail. My dad marched with Martin Luther King. I saw my father march with Martin Luther King.
There is just one problem, however, it never happened.
Okay. So, well, call us and tell us what Martin Luther King message was. Caller, you're up.
Hello?
Yes, you're up. You're on the air.
I love your show, sir.
Thank you.
So very much. I'm learning so much from your show and your program, and I can look at you while I'm looking at you now. You are a real Christian. Okay, let me say this. I was raised according to the way my mother and father wanted me to be raised as a Roman Catholic. But I'm sorry to say I don't believe in it. Okay, one more. I went to the seminary, sir.
Okay.
East St. Louis, Mississippi, St. Augustine Seminary. And I was treated like a pig, which I had to feed the pig because I didn't have no money. But what you say, people ought to listen to this, sir, because you are saying the truth, the God truth. And I'll tell you my name. I'm not embarrassed. I worked 24 years in one place, and you know what happened? They treated me like a dog. But I forgive them.
Okay. Okay, I'm not sure. Well, I appreciate the compliment. Not a Christian. I'm a believer. I'm a Muslim. And I do believe in the truth. And let's see if we can get some other people to call us and tell us what Martin Luther King message was and if it was accomplished. And how far has he accomplished, or are things better or worse than what it was? I can tell you one thing, as far as, and this is when probably, reality sometimes it hurts, and you don't like to hear reality from people of different color and different race, and but the reality is, I really think, I'll tell you what I think after we hear from this caller. Caller, you're up.
Hey, Sam.
Yes, sir.
I was just looking at the set. I like the picture behind you. If I was Martin Luther King, I'd slap you too.
That's a good one. No, he's giving me a high five. Caller, you're up.
Yes, I wanted to ask you a question. I heard that you mentioned that you were Muslim. I was trying to find out what type of Muslim are you, because I know you have several different stores, and those stores sell cigarettes, liquor, and all kinds of pork and stuff like that. And I was just trying to wonder if are you a different type of Muslim, or what actually do you consider yourself? And I also was at one of your facilities where you do the taxes, and I heard...
Okay, number one, I do not own any stores. Number two, on the program, I do not mix my business with my politics. So if you're going to call, don't call and talk. If you know me and you know who I am, just don't call and talk to me about business, because I will not discuss business. Now, I do not own any stores, and that sells liquor or pork or anything else. Caller, you're up. Caller, you're up.
You asked me what's Martin Luther King Jr.'s,
yes, sir.
what he wanted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I think what he wanted was for all of us to get along and work together for the greater good of America.
Okay. How much has he has that been accomplished?
Well, it's been accomplished tremendously from what it was.
Oh, really? So we get along now?
Oh, no.
Okay.
We still got a lot of work to do, but it's better than where it was.
So all he was worried about is black and whites and Hispanics and people in the United States to get along. Let's all get along and smoke cigarettes or something?
Oh, no.
Okay.
He wanted us to get the people out of poverty, do good things, and put our children to have educations.
Okay. Now you said, you by the way, you touched on what I've been waiting for people to actually, those who know. You see, the problem is we don't know what Martin Luther King was all about, and unfortunately many blacks in the country don't know what Martin Luther King message was. Get along and equal rights. That's not what he wanted. And then you have the caller before you. She wasted a whole call on nothing. She should have talked about what Martin Luther King wanted to accomplish. Now, you did touch on it when you talked about poverty.
Yes, and he wanted for all of us to, it's not just a one-person thing. Just because you're rich, he doesn't want just you. He wants everybody to help everyone. Now, it's not just certain people who help certain people. It's everybody help everybody.
Okay.
It's a community thing. We all got to get together.
Right. Thanks. Appreciate the call. All right. Well, we are getting towards, we got like 7 minutes left, and unfortunately, we still don't have exactly the whole thing, but I'm going to tell you. His message was for economic justice. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about his movement, about his thinking, about his economic justice. Now, some of you said communist, socialist, all this stuff. He wanted economic justice. And it is much worse with this economic justice of what it was when he was actually living. Economic justice is what he wanted. And economic justice we do not have. And now, sometimes you think, well, who's to blame? Well, everybody is to blame. The blacks are to blame. The whites are to blame. But more than the people to be blamed. It's the system that created the situation we are in. And it is a system of government. It's a system of politics, the way our system runs. But also, let's not forget. Now, I tell my friends in the black community, before you look outside and try to blame somebody outside, look inside, look at you, and see what you are doing about it. What are you doing about it? What are you doing to accomplish this economic justice that Martin Luther King wanted to accomplish? Let me give you a little bit of statistics that kind of tells you exactly what happened, because there's a lot to be blamed in the black communities themselves. Now, I can tell you one thing, and a lot of you probably going to get upset, but that's okay. I'm not here for any rewards, and I'm not here running for any office, so if you get mad at me, that's fine. When Martin Luther King died, 70% of black families had a father and a mother in the same house. Now, I'm not trying to belittle those single mothers trying very hardly and trying to raise their children, but that has a lot to do with the economic situations where we at now, where black people in their communities find themselves. It has a lot to do with the economic justice. Let's look at it now. Less than 30% of black women get married. Less than 30% of black women get married. That means 70% of black women don't get married. Now, who's to be blamed for that? Who's to be blamed for that situation there? Because that situation has a lot built on it. It has economic built on it. You know, try to be a single mom raising kids, or a family when you have a father and a mother. Okay? Now, I know many single women out there are trying their best to raise their children and raise them right. I know many of you out there who actually tried to get your family from the north side to the south side because you wanted better opportunities for your children. I know of many of you that try to put your kids in school so they can become better, put them through college. But statistics say otherwise. Statistics say that many of black kids who go into college don't finish. Statistics still say that managers out there are white and busboys are black. That has a lot to do with economic justice. Yeah, we do have a black president. That's one man. That's one family. But we have economic justice is what Martin Luther King wanted to accomplish, and that has not been accomplished. That, as a matter of fact, is far from being accomplished, and it all depends on the family. The family. I'm not trying to put anyone down, and I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong, but what I can tell you is that by itself is not an indication, but that has a lot to do with the situation the way it is, because things are not the same in the white community. Things are not the same in the white community. Sure, there's a lot of single moms, white single moms, that are trying to raise their kids. But it's totally different. It is totally different. The family unit within the black society, within the black community, yes, the structure, the family structure has a lot to do, especially now. I'm not talking about all blacks in the United States. I'm talking about in those areas where many call the ghettos, many call like the inner cities. There's a problem, and it starts in the family. If you have a good family, you have better opportunities for your kids in the future. Now, we have 1 minute, and if anyone wants to jump in here in this minute and say something, fine. If not, we probably, I mean, I don't mind actually tackling this subject again next week because we only have 1 minute left. But we can tackle this subject if you want. I don't know, I might have a different subject. But I really think that economic opportunities, I'm here, economic opportunities and economic justice is far from being accomplished in this country. And if we want everybody to get along and everybody to have the same equal rights, then let's have economic opportunities. And I'm not talking about food stamps. We're talking about economic justice. And it starts with a lot of things. It's not just only the family, but that's the start. Education and the society at whole, and jobs and training, and the way black people look at themselves. That's what will accomplish this. Anyway, that's all we have for you tonight, and we have time to say good night. Bye. And this guy here behind me is saying good night. We'll see you next week.
But look how that looks in the